and welcome back to my channel. It's Namfundo here, and today we're gonna be talking about different careers within HSSE. So whether you are moving directly from high school into the HSSE career, or you're just looking for a career change after a long career that you had, there is always a way of getting into our profession, which is HSSE. You could start with one line, which could be safety on its own or health on its own, and eventually merge them together to build your HSSE. It is very advisable to ensure that you don't have just one leg of the HSSE, because depending on the organization that you're going to work for, you could just be the only person working within that space. So courses will usually give you the prerequisite, and that is what you should be looking at before you choose your courses, because you're working with what you already have. So you look at what course do I want to do? Do I have what they're asking for me to qualify to enter? And that's how you choose your courses. So from the certificate point of view, that's how most people will start, especially at the officer level, which is like entry level. You will start with your certificate courses, and with your certificate courses, they are very important because they give you a base of what the actual workplace is like. So for example, you could be doing working at height as a certificate, construction safety, hot work. There is so many short courses that you can take to build up your career before you get into the actual qualifications, which are like your diplomas and your degrees. So as a start to get into the employment, you will usually start with the short courses. There are courses that are local that you could be doing within your own country, and there's also international where you're looking into your enebles IGCs, which are like very accredited in terms of international studies at a certificate level. And then after you've built that base of certificates, then you can look at your long-term studies. That is when you are growing up into the diplomas and your degrees. So my advice when it comes to short courses is look for accreditation. Make sure that the course that you do is well accredited. Some of the examples that I can use are IOSH, SIOSH, NIOSH, the risk management one. So moving from the degrees to the diploma, this is where now you are able to branch out, and you are able to look into your career and say, I have this good solid foundation. I can now branch out, I can now add environment, I can now add quality. What do I want to do? What do I see as the end point of my studies? Because we're not all gonna have the same journey. So if I've started with health, at this point I want to say, how can I incorporate the other legs of the HSSE? How can I incorporate safety, or how can I incorporate an environment into it? So at postgrad level, that is when it becomes much more open. It's got better prerequisites, and you are able to now structure your goal according to what you are trying to achieve. So from your certificate, you will now move to the diploma level. So depending on the country that you are from, the diplomas are usually separated in terms of health, safety, security, environment and quality. But you could have maybe in your country the ones that are already combined, and it's usually like fire and safety diploma, but usually I've seen them separated. So you will move to the diploma level, and it's still very critical to check that the course that you are doing is accredited, so that you don't waste your time with these false course providers. So once you have completed at the diploma level, you could move to the BTech level, or you could just go straight to the degree. So you could do the diploma and the BTech, or you could do the degree straight away, depending on the country that you are from. So some countries just don't have that luxury of choice to just take what is there. Like in South Africa, we have a diploma and then a BTech. Okay, let's talk about health first. Health is separated into two. There is medical health, that's when you're talking about the nurses, And then there's occupational hygiene. This is when you're talking about the assistant hygienist, the technologist, and then your hygienist. Those people look at the hazards in the workplace, and they do the monitoring, they do hazard controls, they go with those big machines and monitor noises and all those things that they do, heat stress. So those are the people that are called occupational hygiene, but they all fall under health. So I just want to separate it like that. So when you're talking about careers in health, you need to be clear that there's actually two different parts within the health. The one for medical is just clear. You will have a occupational nurse. That is the person that looks after the well-being of people in the workplace. Especially in companies that have their own clinics, you'll have a nurse there that looks after the injuries that are specific to the hazards that you're dealing with. So for example, you find that maybe in the clinic you wouldn't have facilities for major burns, HSSE, you may not have that, but if you have your own nurse, they are well equipped to deal with the hazards that you are exposed to in your workplace specific. So under the health nurse, they will have a whole lot of qualifications that they will have to go through. They also have their BTEC that you can do, and then you will have your small certificates that you can do for doing medicals, if you do your in-house medicals, your audiometry. So they are well equipped to do all of those things. They may even go as far as drug testing. So there's a lot that the health nurse can do within that part of health. And then from the occupational hygiene side, those people have a base. You could have a base of environmental, or you could have a solid base of health as well. You could have just gone straight into it, or you can also move from the safety side of things and jump into the occupational hygiene and just grow that as a career. So you can have any of the normal bases that I've already spoken about, and then as you grow into the postgrad, and just choose which one that you feel like you want to do and move into the occupational hygiene. So once you get there, there's some assessments that you have to do that will get you accredited in terms of being examined into becoming an assistant, and then you still go further study, and then you also write and get examined for becoming a technologist, and then you also do the same to become a hygienist. So those are two different parts within the health part of things. So when you have a solid base, the more choices you will have as you get into the postgrad level. I personally find the path for environmental much more clearer, because you can just move direct from your diploma level, your BTEC, or through the degree part, and then you move to your honors, then you move to your masters, then you move to your PhD if you even want to. So it's just that simple within the environmental side of things. So but you are able to get into the environment as well, coming from the health or coming from the safety. So at that postgrad level, like I said, there's much more options to move around within the HSSE. So from the environmental point of view, you can move from your undergrads, which are your diploma, BTEC, or your degree, and then from there you move to honors, masters, and PhD. Safety can be a little bit tricky, which is my specialty. Within safety, we have a lot of short courses, and then we have a lot of diplomas, a lot of BTECs, and we also have the degrees as well. So when you get to postgrad level, there are some honors depending on the country that you are from, but usually people will then start to incorporate the NEBOSH courses after they've had their solid base. But you can get into the NEBOSH courses straight away, from your certificate level into your international diploma, and from there straight into your master's courses, and as far as you wish to reach. So from the undergrad, finish that, then from there you move to your masters if you want, or you can branch into your niche courses. If you want to be international, you can branch into your niche courses. Your niche courses have a quicker route, if I may say. I think they're a quicker route because you can move directly from the international diploma into the master's courses. And if you're going through the normal route, you will, if you have a diploma, it means you still need to do a BTech, then honors, then you can get into the masters. But through the NIBOSH, you are able to go straight from your international diploma into your masters. From there, it's up to you how further you want to go. You can go into your PhD if you want to, or you can just end there in the masters. So there's a lot of them. You can just Google them for yourself. There's a lot of options when it comes to safety masters. You can have them separated, you can have them together with health and safety, or you can have health, safety and environment, or you can have ergonomics and safety, you can have fire and safety. So when you get to masters, that's when you just choose what was your end goal when you started, and then you decide what route you want to take. So safety, it's got a lot of options. It can be a little bit tricky to choose which one is for you because there's a lot of them, but there's options out there. Choose your career and go for it. In HSSE, no experience is a waste. We have seen people moving from becoming an engineer into HSSE, and they make great HSE practitioners because they come with that background. We've also seen people moving from process control or operations, and they bring all that solid background of knowing chemicals and how people can be exposed into them, bringing all of that into HSSE. That is why we are able to match with any experience. Any experience is useful for an HSE practitioner. HSSE, EHS, SHE, SHEC, it's all the same thing. Do not get confused or be alarmed. It's all the same thing. It's just an organizational way of how they name it there, but it's all the same thing. So we all one family, and I really advise you to grow towards all of them. If you want to be an HSE practitioner, don't be solid into safety and be blank about the rest, or be solid into health and be blank about the rest, but just try, when you reach your level of profession within that one, start branching out into the other so that you can become an HSE professional and not just a safety or a health professional. So merge them together and become a strong HSE practitioner. I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you so much for watching, and thank you for the love you showed me on my previous video. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe on my channel, and also do like this video and ensure that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. It's gonna be exciting. Thank you.